I have spent too many hours building flags of every single sovereign state in North America. That's 23. And I did this why, you may ask? Boredom. Mostly boredom. And some suggestions I have gotten, you know who you are. If only I knew that taking this task upon myself would make me quite literally insane. Don't get me wrong, many flags are easy to build, 3 stripes across a star, but many flags are an absolute pain in the Sorry for my foul language, I had to communicate my frustrations, and many of these terrible flags just happen to be from North and Central America. Jokes aside, I did actually have a lot of fun figuring out a lot of these flags, starting of course with Antigua and Barbuda, which is first in the alphabet, and which was also not a bad start. It was also not easy either, but I do have a bit of experience with building flags. If you've seen my Tiny Island Resort series, I have built a handful of flags there, and also in some other projects here and there. That rhymes. But it's really with this silly project of mine that I learned a lot about the little tricks and tactics of building flags. And the learning curve it was, because Antigua and Barbuda was not the easiest flag. The sun wasn't completely accurate, I do apologise, but I do feel like I get better with a lot of the future like flags in this video, so do stick around. Bahamas is a culture shock. Not the actual country, but building the flag, which was substantially easier compared to my previous venture into Antigua and Barbuda. That's why this section is substantially shorter as well. It's literally 3 horizontal flags and the big triangle. If only all flags were this easy. Next, Barbados, another tricolour with not a too difficult symbol on it. Just for that I am glad. Barbados has like this interesting trident. I don't know why, but for some reason in my head it looks more like a football flag instead of a country flag. Nonetheless, the tricolour trident was quite fun to figure out and build. Mostly using the primitive triangle pieces, angled and synced in the ground. It was mostly figuring out which angle they had to be placed, but overall not too difficult. I'm ranking these flags based on difficulties apparently. It was for the next flag that I realised I might have made a great mistake. Belize is a beautiful flag, don't get me wrong, but why? Why do you have to put such an elaborate drawing in the middle of your flag? Which reason? Why do you want me to suffer this badly? Just for the record, this flag alone took me 2 hours. Not even exaggerating, actually full on 2 hours. I actually had to ask around on the Discord for some suggestions for pieces I could use, because it's when it was then that I realized it would have been impossible to build this sort of thing with just the primitive pieces, which are absolutely huge by the way. I asked around and a couple of folk gave me the great idea of using the comma. I then proceeded to slap myself in the face because how did I not think of the comma? I've used the comma before in some previous builds, so I mean why not for the flag, right? I thank those who suggested me this amazing piece that I basically use for the rest of the video whenever there's something slightly finicky to build. After spending 2 hours on building one singular flag, I decided that I would not go into such great detail in the flag again. And I would never ever spend this long on building one single flag ever again in my entire life. This is called foreshadowing. When I finally finished this flag, I actually had to take a break for the rest of the day and I couldn't touch Planet Zoo until the following day. I really had to contemplate my life choices with this one. I felt my sanity leaving my body more and more the further I got into this flag. It was like I was no longer a human. I was a mere machine, machining for the greater good of humanity. Anything that was ever considered human just ripped from my body. I was but a husk of my former self. No happiness, no sadness, no anger, just the dedication of building this flag and many to come. Lost track of time and space, neglected family and loved ones, just so I could please the masses with this flag that everyone has been asking for the past years. Wait, hold on. This is Belize. no one is going to use Belize. When will anyone ever use Belize in Planet Zoo? I think I just spent 2 hours building a flag that won't even be that popular. Like, at all. I wasted 2 hours. Oh, but look at that. I built a cool looking boat on the flag. All is good. And a tree as well. No, like, jokes aside, this was actually really fun to do. It was time consuming, and I did actually have to take a break after this. I couldn't touch it. I couldn't touch Planet Zoo at all. But it was really fun to do. Just figuring out all these different shapes, angling them correctly and stuff. Like, just the boat itself looks phenomenal, I must admit, even though I built it myself. It's very humble of myself, I know. But I was actually proud of this. It took ages. The tree was fun to do. A lot of things are a bit out of scale, I must admit. The tree's a bit too small. I think overall, everything is a bit, like, slightly too small. The person has... the proportion of the person is a bit off. It's a bit wide, as you can see. The weapons are not completely in proportion either, or on the right angles. But I think for what this flag will be used for, and I doubt a lot anyway, I think this is good enough as a job that really is necessary for a flag like this. So yes, I am actually quite proud of how it turned out. Oh, Canada, such a beauty. It's actually one of my favourite flags designs. And may I add, it only took 7 minutes, from 2 hours to 7 minutes. Which is ironic, because Canada will probably be one of the more popular flags, especially in comparison to Belize. Costa Rica was just adjusting a previous flag I've done. Kenya to be more specific. So yeah, that one was quite easy as well. Cuba was fun. I got to design a star, which I will be using in a lot of the other flags as well. Recycling is key with this project. And also some simple stripes and a triangle, just like the Bahamas. Back to a more complex one, Dominica has a bird on it. There are a lot of flags with birds on it actually, but even without a bird, figuring out the stripe pattern was a bit of a challenge at first. I also had to redesign smaller stars for this flag. I do realise the stars are a bit too small, but I couldn't be bothered really. There's a lot of flags to do still, so whatever, I guess. Overall, I think that the flag has a really nice design. I'm not sure what I think about the colour choices, but I do think it's quite a nice design. That's quite a unique flag. There's not a lot of flags like this with like the cross with 3 stripes basically, so that's quite a cool design. I don't go into detail with the bird compared to Belize, but it was still nice to try and get somewhat accurate bird. As you may have noticed, I'm going alphabetically. This won't be the case for the rest of the video though. Eventually I'll just build whatever I fancy. For Dominican Republic, we have another pretty drawing in the middle, but since I was traumatized from Belize, I took a step back and didn't go as much into detail, with still remaining somewhat accurate. I actually really enjoyed the design of this flag. I like the 4 squares that are kind of like alternating. This isn't the only flag like this, as you will see, but it's such a clever design, I really love it. The actual symbol in the middle is also quite nice, it's not too distracting. There's a lot of these like Central American flags that have this like leaf design on both sides, so that was quite good, so I could just copy those over, as you will see in the future. Next, El Salvador. I have gone a little more with El Salvador. I don't know, I might actually really enjoy doing these more complex flags. It keeps me busy, I guess, and I see it a bit like sort of a puzzle to figure out. With El Salvador, on first glance it looks like the Illuminati symbol, but with a closer look it isn't, don't worry. As you can see, I'm building like a new branch design as well, because this one is a bit more bigger compared to Dominican Republic, but it's this one that I will end up copying over for a couple of the other flags as well. For some reason, there are so many blue and white flags in North America. I'm sure there's some reason for it, but it does make it hard to keep a lot of these Latin American flags apart. Grenada. I made a big oopsie with Grenada. I actually made the scale wrong, so the flag is actually a bit bigger than all the other flags, which looks a bit goofy, but frankly I can't be bothered to build it again because it's just so much effort. And there were still a lot of flags to go, you know. I might update this flag at some point in the future though. I must admit, it's not the prettiest flag. Just in general, I don't really like the design of this flag. It's just not my cup of tea, I guess. And to be clear, if I criticize flags, it's not because of the country or anything, it's purely the flag design. And this little weird like nutty flowery thing in the side, I don't know what that is supposed to mean, but I don't know, it's just not the prettiest flag. I also had to build another star for this flag because once again the stars I already built were either too big or too small. Honduras, another blue flag. This one is the easiest to recognize by the 5 stars, quick and easy, not more I can say really. For Nicaragua, I used the flag of El Salvador, as you can see, because they are for some reason very similar. They have a lot of similar imagery on their flag with the golden letters in a circle and the golden triangle with very similar things within the triangle too. I'm not actually sure what the imagery is. It's like both have mountains with a sort of cap or something just flying in the air. And as I said, recycling flags is very important for this project to save a lot of time. Trinidad and Tobago. I thought this was going to be an easy one, just some stripes, you know, but it turned out that having the stripes going diagonal makes it substantially more difficult. But I found a good method by angling the same primitive pieces at different heights. Really thankful for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's a tricolor flag with a super easy symbol in the middle, just 3 emeralds, so couldn't have been more thankful than that really. St. Kitts and Nevis is once again a more difficult one because of the diagonal stripes, but because I have done the Trinidad and Tobago one, I sort of had the method figured out. Unfortunately, St. Kitts and Nevis has the diagonal in the other direction, so I couldn't just copy the Trinidad and Tobago flag, unfortunately. But as I said, it's quite an easy one just because of the similarity. St. Lucia was super easy as well because it's a triangle within a triangle within a triangle. The angling took a bit of effort, but really once you got the angle figured out and you could like easily hide the sticky out bits with like the same color underneath, it was really a piece of cake. So I really enjoyed doing this one as well. It was really easy. Panama is literally Dominican Republic without a cross and with stars. Super easy, love this one, great. And easily one of my favourite flags as well. Jamaica was another one that I thought was going to be really easy because I knew how to kind of do the diagonal flags, I had those figured out. But the method I use only really works with one diagonal stripe in one direction. But now having it in 2 directions just added a huge challenge. So I tried to do something that I think worked. I tried to make this sort of similar design that I did with Grenada, where you have them all slanting inwards from each direction, and then I tried to get a stripe going like synced into each groove, and it was a very, very finicky flag to do, but it eventually worked out. And I must say, Jamaica is a beautiful flag as well. It's the only flag in the entire world, by the way, with no red, white or blue in it. And once I finally got one stripe figured out, I could just do the other one as well, since it's a different angle, so I couldn't just copy it over. But once I had one side done, I could just copy it and then just bring it over to the other side. So after I finally figured it out, it was actually quite an easy flag to do, and it was really enjoyable. Guatemala is another blue and white, once again with the branch sort of design in the center as well, but this time around with vertical stripes. I also didn't know the flag had weapons until I started building it, so that was quite a surprise as well. I really did a very simple version of the weapons, because as I said, I'm not going to go that much into detail again, but I guess it does the job. It also has a sort of letter or something, maybe independence, like Declaration of Independence or something like that, I'm not sure. It has something on there. And then also a bird, another bird, so this is the third bird, I think? Yeah. Haiti has to be one of my most embarrassing ones yet, after getting the size wrong of Grenada. But I said I was not going into detail as much with these drawings anymore, but I might have neglected this one a bit too much. The design is very bland and also completely out of scale. I might have to go back to this one as well, but I assume since this flag won't be used too much, it doesn't really matter all that much and I can live with it. Overall, I think the actual design of the flag is quite a cool design, so I do apologise for neglecting this one a little bit. But I think at this point I was a bit tired of the day. It was one of the last flags I did that day, so yeah. Remember the foreshadowing near the beginning of this video? And I would never ever spend this long on building one single flag ever again in my entire life. Well, this is it. Mexico is such a popular flag, and I was sure it would be popular in Planet Zoo as well, so I couldn't neglect it, of course. It's a beautiful design. Especially after my embarrassing attempt at Haiti, I wanted to do Mexico justice, since the symbolism behind it is very beautiful as well. It has something to do with ancient Aztec civilization and how they discovered the land to begin with, if I remember correctly. And the symbol is a drawing of an eagle sitting on a cactus, which sits on an island in a lake while eating or attacking a snake. That rhymes somehow. And it's a mouthful of specific events as well, and such a beautiful flag once again. And yes, I did actually spend 2 hours on this flag. I wanted to get this one perfect, you know, even using different shades. I used different colours for the birds, like darker, lighter colours. Even like the wings and stuff. And I think eventually the flag turned out really good. Normally I wouldn't consider myself great when it comes to stuff that are very organic. I refer to the humans in Belize, which were a bit out of proportion, and the bird in Dominica, which looked a bit funky as well, I would say. But come on, I must admit, this bird actually did look really good, and it looks so Mexican. You see this bird and you think, yep, this is Mexico. And it is a pretty bird, and even the snake and the cactus, it just all ties in together really beautifully. The only tiny issue I had whilst building this was that the snake has this kind of yellow bit near the claw of the eagle, which kind of blends in with the claw of the eagle since the foot is yellow as well. So it might be a bit confusing. It looks like the eagle has a weird shaped leg, which it doesn't. That's the snake, okay? Also, as you can see, this flag has also these sort of like these leaves and these like branches. But I had to design a custom one for Mexico just because it looks different And as I said, I wanted to really do Mexico justice. I wanted to get all those details in there, and I enjoyed every single bit of it. It was so enjoyable. So yeah, I hope you will use this flag. You better build a Mexican area with Mexico flags, because I spent some time in this, you know. Finally, USA! For all you United States viewers, and I'm sure there is at least one, here it is. The American flag. There are plenty of United States flags on the workshop, I know. It would be silly to have a North American flag collection without the flag of the States. And this one was a pretty easy one as well, although I had to build new stars again. Finally, I can raise the last flag and put it right in its place. Hold on, right there. Next to all the other flags. It's finally finished, my god. So, this is it, the entire collection of North American flags. I hope you enjoyed this video since it's very different from my usual content. So do let me know if you would like to see more flags from around the world. Like, actually do let me know, I always enjoy receiving feedback. And if you're wondering, yes, these flags are available on the workshop, which you can find down in the description. Each flag has a two-sided version available on the post standing up, and the one-sided banner version to hang against the wall to save on some pieces. I really do hope you enjoyed this video, because this actually cost me a lot of effort. Any case, I will see you in the next episode. Bye bye.